Hey there, it's Heaven and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh. I'm currently on the way to an event where they've asked me to be a panelist. It's a day-long symposium for young ladies from 7th to 12th grade. And I've been thinking about how I'm so behind on my content, and I was going through some of like the comments and messages I had received because I was in a board meeting for the College Fund of Pinellas County, which is an organization I'm on the board of. And I'm like, these questions people have been asking me. I'm so behind on my YouTube content. When am I gonna film? When am I gonna film? And I'm like, you know what? There is no excuse. I have 20 more minutes that I'm gonna be driving. I'm just gonna get it done now. And I had this revelation of like, oh my gosh, the videos I'm doing are mattering to people, or at least people are seeing them and getting questions and they're being curious. So I figured I would take this time while I'm here in the car, I'm not doing anything else, might as well get on here and chat with y'all and talk a little bit about why I decided to pursue my MBA at the University of Florida online program, and then also the application process, more specifically around did I choose to take the GMAT or the GRE. Let me take it back a little bit. Let's go back in time to 2020-ish, maybe even 2019. I was freshly out of college, undergrad, and I had a full-time job. I was back in my hometown of St. Petersburg, where I still live now. And around that time, I had been playing with the idea of going to law school for a few different reasons, but probably not the right reasons. And long story short, I didn't end up going. But I had invested like hundreds of dollars in study materials. I had told myself I was gonna, take the LSAT. I was gonna get a great grade. I was going to get scholarships and all this stuff. And I just could not bring myself to study. Mind you, it's COVID, so I have all the time in the world. I'm at home. I'm working from home. There was really no reason for me to not be studying. And I just had this epiphany one day. I'm like, if I cannot bring myself to study for the LSAT, how do I expect to be even mildly successful in law school if I am to be admitted and all of that? So that dream or that goal was, done. But since then, I have toyed with the idea of pursuing additional education, a master's degree of some time, because frankly, my mom has multiple master's degrees and certificates, and I have an uncle who, has a lot of education, and I was just brought up, I will say this, not everyone in my family, is college educated and has, advanced degrees and things of that sort, but the people who had the most direct influence on my life and, how I turned out, were and did have that education. So I had always had it in my mind that I was going to go to college. It was never a question of am I going to undergrad? It was just where was I going to go? What was I going to study? And then when it came to graduate school, it had been something that I was interested in and curious about. I just didn't know what I wanted to do it in. I entertained the law school thing, but I didn't want to do it. I had no desire to be a lawyer. I was literally thinking about okay, I'm going to go to law school, get this degree, and what am I going to do? I had no interest in practicing law. That was not a thing I wanted to do. So when it came to the master's thing, similarly, I was thinking, what would I get it in? And I also recognized that as a black woman, as an unambiguously dark-skinned black woman with 4C hair in America, it would not hurt me to get more education, okay? In the long term, would it pay off? How would it pay off? I can't speak to that because I don't have a crystal ball, but it would not be something that I would regret. So I was fine with that. So for a time, I had considered pursuing an integrated marketing communications master's at Northwestern. In fact, I had applied to that program again this year, and I talked about that in a previous video. If you want to check that out, I'm going to put it on the screen. But I had applied to that program maybe a year or so because I was still at that. There was 2 jobs ago still, and I had talked to a college friend of mine who had gotten her master's in that program to kind of get her insights. They have an online program and an in-person program. I had applied to the online program, which kind of like my MBA that I'm in right now is for people who are a little more advanced in their career. So mind you, I had applied to this 3-ish years ago. So much less work experience, fewer years in the workforce, things of that sort. So I did not get in. And I was bummed, but it didn't ruin my day. I was okay, great. I don't have to go to school. Fast forward a few more years, I have been talking to different friends, talking to that uncle I had mentioned before, and thinking about I want to move to a new city. I have a small child, but I don't want to live in St. Petersburg my whole life, even though it's becoming a really cool place. I do want to see more of the world and experience more places. And he suggested that I consider, maybe suggest is too light a word, but it wasn't he was forcing me or anything. He was just, I need to get over. Oh, y'all are gonna let me over. Okay, well, I'm about to do some real Florida stuff. Okay, here we go. Boom. He has suggested that as again a black woman who is interested in relocating to a larger city where the job market is undoubtedly more competitive there are more people with more education, more work experience, it would be in my better interest to pursue additional education. And so I took that and I marinated on it, I thought about it, and initially I didn't love that he said that. I did feel the way, but I was like, you know what, like, this guy is right. And I recognize that times are changing and things are different, but I can only go with what I know. And what I know is that, you know, more education is not the wrong thing. I keep trying to qualify. I keep sort of qualifying this because I feel like a lot of times online people will try to discourage people from getting education or say like college is not the thing. I don't believe that. At least not for me and not for my child. I will encourage education unless she is pursuing some other business opportunity that is proving fruitful. But education is a proven method and strategy. So I sat with that from what he said, and then I decided I was going to apply to get an MBA because I went to school for broadcast journalism, and while I'm not 1,000% certain on what I would like to do, I felt like the MBA was diverse enough a degree that I could apply in different ways, and largely I'm interested in making more connections and opening more doors for myself just with this new credential. So I felt like that wouldn't be a bad idea or a bad option. So I applied to UF's online 2-year MBA program. I applied to USF's online MBA. Although I am local, I had the option with that one to potentially go to some classes in person, which is why I was interested in that. Cause I'm like, oh, I could still, you know, see people in person, go to Tampa if I want to, or if they have classes in St. Pete, go to those if I want to. And then I also applied to, like I said, Northwestern's IMC program in person. That was the program that's more for people who are like right out of college. I got in, I didn't get a scholarship, but it was not substantial. Again, go watch that video if you want to know more about that. I would have had to move to Chicago in last fall, the August that just passed. And as I was applying, I knew that, but when I got in and I was like, oh, like, this is not realistic. Like, this is not feasible for me. Could I have done it and made it happen? Yes, but there were other factors. It was just a lot with that I was just like too big of a jump. It feels like I would be having to make too many substantial and challenging changes to make this work. Some things I think should just come with a little more ease. So I selected UF because I attended the University of Florida for my undergraduate education, so I'm already familiar with the institution. Gainesville is not far away. It's about a 2-hour drive, so if there is programming in person that I would like to attend, it is accessible to me. I also think it'd just be cool to say I'm a double gator. I like that, you know, a little bit of school spirit, school pride there. I also looked at the courses that were offered and they seemed interesting to me. Of the schools I chose, and comparatively to other online programs, it is expensive. It's about like $60,000, so I am taking out loans, but I don't have any undergraduate debt. In fact, I graduated undergrad with money in my pocket, so I figure if this is the only student debt I have, like, I will figure it out. Also, I told myself that if I was going to go to any graduate professional degree program, I really wanted to study abroad. And so part of UF's curriculum for the program that I'm in, they require you to have an immersion experience, and that could include global immersion experiences, which are like study abroads. That can include a weekend residency. That can include, they have virtual options as well. I intend to go study abroad this fall. In October, they're going to Santiago, Chile. And then in November, they're going to Tokyo, Japan. But the thing is, it's literally the same exact weekend that my line sister is getting married and I'm in the wedding. Not only that, she's the first on our line to get married, so it's like I can't not be there. I thought about it for like 5 seconds and I'm like, no girl, you can't miss that. So I'm planning to go to Chile, and then if they do, well, they will do one more in the spring. That's the other thing, you can go to as many immersion experiences as you want, you just gotta pay for them. So if they do another study abroad immersion experience in the spring and I want to go because I'm supposed to graduate in the spring, I'm gonna go. They also offer like additional trainings, like they have like Lean Six Sigma. There's also like project management certifications, I think there's Excel certifications. So I might do a couple more things like that in the fall, because it really hit me that I hadn't done a ton of networking in person. Met up a few times with classmates who are local to the Tampa Bay area, but I haven't done any of the program stuff. And honestly, the time is flying. It's almost will have been a year that I've been in the program. I graduate a year from now. It's April. I graduate in April, and I'm like, dang, the time has really flown. So those are the reasons why I chose UF. As for standardized testing, I did not take the GRE nor the GMAT. And part of the reason why I selected the programs I did is because I did not want to take standardized tests. And I felt like sitting down to try to take these tests to potentially improve my chances, my likelihood of getting in, was not ultimately worth it to me, because US program that I'm in does not offer scholarships. I didn't really see the value in taking the test. I felt like I was a strong enough candidate. Additionally, Additionally, I had sent my resume to the admissions team prior to applying to get their feedback on whether they thought I was a strong candidate, and the feedback that I got was that they felt like I would be, so I took that for what it was. Also, remember when I mentioned the conversation that I had with my uncle? It was a lot to do with timing. That happened probably last spring. The application for UF's program was due in June-ish, I want to say. There were multiple cycles, but for what I was going to apply for, in order to start in the fall, because I had decided if I was going to do this, I wanted to start as soon as possible to limit the amount of time that I had to change my mind, because I have been going back and forth on it for so much time. I'm like, just make a decision, because the time is going to pass anyway. Your child is going to get older. You're not going to be any less busy than you are now. And I just needed to decide. So taking the test, I would have needed more time to study. Like, I work full time. Like I said, I have the child. I do other things in my life. So those are the reasons why I didn't take the test. And I also felt like a lot of these schools weren't requiring test scores in COVID anyway. So for me, it just called into question the necessity of the test anyway. I really didn't want to take the test, and I sought out programs that didn't require the test. Now, if you are trying to, whether you're immediately out of undergrad or you're going back to school after a few years or what have you, if you're going to a full-time in-person MBA program and you are interested in getting that tuition covered or applying for scholarships or just strengthening your application so that, and perhaps, you know, the school offers you more like money, yeah, I would suggest taking the test. But I knew that I wasn't going in person. I would have needed to have decided a lot sooner that I wanted to go, or have waited and have been applying and stuff now to enroll in this coming fall. But, you know, I think things for me have worked out the way that they were supposed to, and I feel really good about my decision. I feel really good about where I am. I've had a really positive experience thus far. I'm currently taking organizational behavior and operations management, and I have to be honest and say operations management is still a lot of math. It's not difficult math. It's just a lot of math. The maths and stats and financial management and accounting wasn't too bad, honestly. I didn't hate that. What was the other one? Oh, econ. All that math was like hard, and I feel like I needed outside sources to help me figure it out. But like, since being in operations management, we turned in our first assignment the other day. That assignment was 250 points, or a quarter of our entire course grade. When I tell you, I feel like for the first time since being in this program, I was able to do the assignment just off the strength of my notes and having like watched the lectures. I was referring back to it, obviously, but everything else I have needed to like go back to the book, go watch a YouTube video, go look on Reddit threads, go ask my classmates, have a study session. This is the first class that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's making sense. So I either got everything wrong on that assignment, or I either finally genuinely understand what's going on. So I feel really good about that. As for organizational behavior, I don't feel like it's a complicated course, but as I'm reading the book, a lot of times I feel like, not that it's common sense, but if you have worked in an office setting, I'm sure other settings too, but I worked in an office setting. If you have worked in an office setting with other people and had to kind of navigate and manage different personalities, a lot of it is kind of like, well, duh. Like, people are incentivized to do their best work when you do certain things. Like, some of these things I'm just like, I didn't need to read this book to know that. But then what will be frustrating sometimes is that it'll present an idea or suggest something, and then it'll say, but the research is unclear. But the research is unclear, or we need to do more research on this. And I'm like, okay, so what is it? Like, is this the case or is this not the case? We have a quiz pretty much every week in that class. I thought the quiz was due yesterday, so I was up to like 11-ish reading and taking notes. I didn't watch the lectures. Come to find out, the quiz opened yesterday and it closes on Sunday. Good news is that now I'm a little bit ahead. So I guess tonight when I go home after this engagement, I think I might actually go see Sinners. Let me know in the comments if you've seen that movie. I haven't been to the movies in a while. I hope that was helpful as far as why I decided to choose UF's MBA program, UF's online 2-year MBA. So if you're considering UF's online MBA program, or if you're considering any of UF's MBA programs, there's a number of them. Online, in person, you can do an add-on year if you're an undergrad, if you're a business major, non-business major. There's different options, okay? They'll get you how you come. They'll figure out how to get you in somewhere. So if you are interested in that and you want more information, click the link in the description. If you have other questions for me that I can be helpful in answering, let me know and I'll do another video. Let me know if you guys like this style of video, just like riding and talking in the car. Perhaps if I do it in the future, I would like to be a little bit more prepared, but I literally just decided, you know, I've got time. Let me record and talk this out, because there's no time like the present, and I can make all the excuses in the world of why I'm not making content. So now I don't have any excuse. If you like this video, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you like, what you want to see more of. Don't forget to Don't forget to throw me a like and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.